It's been a few years now since I did my top 5 stock cabs for the Line 6 Helix. I believe it was in 2020, and it was before we had any of the updated cabs that came with firmware 3.5. So I figured it was about time, like I did last week with my top 5 Helix amp models 2024 edition, that I do the same thing for the stock cab. So today I'm going to take you through what I feel are my favorite, as of right now, as of the time I'm shooting this video, my favorite stock cabs in the Helix, and there are some really great ones, especially now that we have the ability to move microphones around on and off axis, and it's just been a wonderful addition to the Helix and given us so many more ways to create great tones. So again, the disclaimer is that depending on the day you ask me or the month or the week you ask me, I could even change my answers as far as which are my favorites. But as of today and as of the time of me shooting this video, these are my top 5. So without further ado, let's dive right in and take a look at these. So coming in at number 5 is the 110 US Princess cab. This is a really great addition to the Helix, and this is based off a Fender Princeton speaker cab loaded with an Eminence Copperhead speaker. This is such a cool sounding cab. Now keep in mind, all of the cabs that I talk about in this video can be mixed and matched on different styles of amps and different amp models. Don't feel they just have to be paired up with their their natural pairing. I've done that here. I've paired it up with the US Princess amp model, which it works beautifully with. But I find some really cool tones can be unlocked on the Helix when we pair up a cab, maybe with a less likely candidate for it to be paired up with. There is no wrong answers when we do these things, and some experimentation can really yield some great results. But for today, we're going to keep it fairly simple. You'll see here that I've pulled up a 160 ribbon on the cap edge as the position, 4 inches back, no lower high cut. The only thing I've added to today's presets is a tiny dab of dynamic ambience reverb, just so it's not so bone dry. But this is what this sounds like with these US Princess settings, very similar to how they come up stock. I think I just pushed the drive up to 5. So that's a really killer cab you might want to check out. Coming in number 4 is the 212 Interstate. This is based off of a Dr. Z Z-Best cab loaded with vintage 30 speakers. Now, this loads up by default with the 906 dynamic mic. Not a favorite of mine in any way, shape, or form. If you were going to go with a dynamic mic, I much prefer the 7, but I'm going to move this over to, let's say, a 160 ribbon or even maybe an 84 ribbon. This 84 ribbon on the new cabs is a really killer mic based off an AEA R84 ribbon mic. Really great mic in real life. Now, I would probably pull this distance back so we don't get so much of that low flub that comes from some of the ribbon mics. So I'm just utilizing this with the Interstate Z amp with the stock settings it comes up with. Again, nothing else going on here. Let's see what this sounds like. Neck pickup. I'm not a massive fan of vintage 30s, but for some reason they work really nice in this cab and with certain situations. And again, don't be afraid to try it with different amp combinations. Coming in at number 3 is the 112 Open Cream cab. Now, this is a custom cab loaded with a G12M65 creamback speaker. This is truly one of my favorite speakers in real life as well. And I love the sound of this pulled up with a 160 ribbon, pulled back about 5 inches with the mic on the cap edge. Here I've paired it up with a Brit Trem Bright amp. I find this cab just helps to smooth things out a bit. Another killer cab for you to mess around with various amp models. Coming in at number 2 is the 412 Greenback 25, which is a cabinet loaded with 4 12-inch basket weave G12 M25 Greenback speakers. Really killer classic cab for a lot of classic rock tones. Now this comes loaded up by default with a 57 dynamic mic. I would probably 99% of the time not use it with that. Again, anybody who follows my channel knows I love the ribbon mics. Let's go with something like a 160 ribbon. Again, I'm going to pull it back a few inches. I find that ribbon mic tends to tame some of that potential harshness we can get out of a Greenback speaker. But some really beautiful qualities to that particular cab. And moving on to my number 1 favorite cab that we have now in the Helix is the 412 Who-Watt 100. This is a 412 high-watt cabinet loaded with high-watt AP Fane speakers. And I've got to say, there's something really special about this. There's very cool qualities to it. Now, the obvious pairing for this would be the Who-Watt 100 amp. I've pulled this up with the default settings, pushed the drive a little bit. Again, this loads up with a 57 dynamic. I don't really want that on there. Let's go with the 160 ribbon. Again, I really love that mic, as you can tell. We'll pull this to the cap edge and pull it back about 4.5 inches. Now, when I say I don't like the 57 mic, I mean, obviously it's a classic and it's been used on many classic tones. And if somebody's getting great results from it, I would never tell them not to use it. Just for my personal taste, I find I can dial in better sounds with ribbon mics in a quicker fashion to get me exactly what I want. And another cool thing, if you did want to try dynamic mic, like I mentioned before, maybe trying something like the 7 dynamic is a cool starting point. All right, there you have it. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed that. I think those cabs are some really killer additions to the Helix and have opened up a lot of tonal possibilities, as I mentioned, especially with this ability to move around the microphone on and off axis, and the Helix and HX Stomp just keep getting better with every firmware update. So it'll be nice to see even more additions to the stock cabs. Today I'm going to leave you with a piece of music that I composed and recorded with my good friends Marco Miniman on the drum kit and Jason Henry on the bass guitar. These guys always knock it out of the park on my music, and I'm truly honored to have them play on it. This is a song that is going to feature the new Brit 2203 amp model from the firmware 3.70, and this preset is available at the Line 6 Marketplace if you're so inclined and you'd like to grab it. There is a link below in the description. Thanks so much for sharing your time with me. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thanks so much again for watching. Ciao for now.